Well, I'm going to make a start on this one, but tragically, look at the state of the box. Poor old thing. And as I was looking at it, I saw that. You don't see that very often, do you? How old is all this, eh? So, we're going to make this one. Panzer Jaeger. Jaeger, whatever it is. It's one of those brilliant cut-down, German cut-down tanks, so they can get a nice big heavy gun on and keep construction really simple. It gives it a low profile, and I wouldn't want to come up against one of these. They're really, you know, down to brass tacks with this kind of design. Matchbox as well, really good models. I remember enjoying their tanks a lot. There it is in two colours, shine everywhere. I did something with the base, which is a shame. I do not know what I've done with it. And then there's some painting suggestions. I, on the other hand, remember quite a long time ago, bear with me, I don't know what the plan was anymore, but I had given it a base colour, sort of sandy colour. Well, that went well, didn't it? Meanwhile, yes, I gave it all a sort of thin wash, which I was mucking around with for a little while. We'll see some more thin washed chappies come up. I mean, there's some bits that are a little bit overcooked, like that and that, but in a way they have an organic sort of naturalistic quality which I do like. So I'm not going to interfere with them too much as yet. Eventually, when it's done, a little bit of weathering might tone that down a bit, and there you go. But it's, yeah, I find washes quite interesting. So this might be our first one, and we'll see how it comes out. I like the intentional difference Matchbox worked on with things like boxes and instructions. They have these very interesting little panels with details on. One of the interesting things though is this. Section 1 is putting those panels together, then doing the wheels, then putting the wheels on, which means you've got to sort of force the wheels on to the hull, when the hull at this point isn't necessarily the most stable thing in the world. So I'm going to do the wheels first, put them on first, and then put all the panels together. Aren't I clever? Something will go very wrong, won't it? Just know it. Here's some wheels. The rear return idler or something sits on the back panel, which is good, gives it a bit of strength. There we are with the front. God, my vocabulary's gone again. Look, the one that looks like a cog, that one. And there's all the pins on the suspension housings, and here we are with the first layer of wheels. Accidentally, in the Chieftain tank, I forgot to put the return idlers on. In this one I'm not going to put them on because I think I've got a use for them elsewhere, and they're going to get covered by a panel. And I'm probably going to do the same with the track as I did in the Chieftain. I might cut it into sections. Suddenly I am beginning to be converted towards that kind of thing. So here we are with various stages of wheel. We will get more later. More wheels going on. There's a low view.
Sometimes you have to go through a bit of drama to create an opportunity. Another act.
Here we are with this bit, which goes over the wheels. Obviously that one isn't attached to anything, so I'll introduce one that is upside down. You can see these tabs link over the side panel. And there you are, with what in effect is mud guards and not sure what that. Oh, look. Oops. Just worth showing you. This is a beautiful fit. Probably can't do it one-handed, but I managed to get it to just clip on and stay on. But it being such an important part of the everything else, then it's going to need gluing eventually. And usually on these tanks at this point there's a weld there, which is sort of almost like a little crenellation. It's a little bit heavily done to create a point to fix everything onto, but it's a clever way of doing it. Tiny little gap there, which means I probably haven't put the back plate on properly, so I will give it a shove and a bit of glue. That's a great success so far. No traumas. The gun. Nice simple assemblage. I've tried them all out and they all fit quite nicely, which is good. I did, as a teenager, I got a Hasegawa version of one of these tanks, and just as I was coming to this point I lost that bit, and I bet you I've got it somewhere in a box still waiting for me to come up with a solution. And ironically, when I got this one and got it out of the box, that bit fell off the sprue and went on the floor somewhere, and it took about 12 minutes to find it. So I'm going to put this together, but first I've got to go and see to that squeaky cat creature, haven't I? What's the matter? There we go. No glue used, and it all fits very snug. Let's... oh, it's all the junk and everything. Let's see if we can get it to do what it's not in focus, is it? But there you go. Creaky, but moves. That is a very, very good fit, like that. That's well done to Matchbox, not me. Got very little to do with me, is it? So there we go, that fits on there. And it's starting to look pretty ferocious. It's looking quite good. I do like this tank. And now for the very grubby side plates. They have the sort of hanging pins and they fit into those holes. Giving it a try, works well. It's going to need glue. Time to catch up on some details. I've added the cradle for the gun, and then we've got the hatches to do. I fear I should have done them earlier. I don't like to put the smaller bits on before the big bits, because the big bits often need a bit of manhandling and then you cause problems for the others. But I've got a funny feeling that little section, that one, is going to want to fall all the way through. Then there's these odd little fillers that just take the armour along the back of the hull. Let's have a look at this side. So that's what it's covering up. Bit of a shell trap there, I suppose. Smooths it all out, stops it having reduces a very individualistic, is that the right word? Individualised profile. Keeps it very plain and simple. This is it with every piece on. Oh! That is apart from the tracks. I just realised that as that board went over. And yeah, I don't know what I've done with the base. And there's this little guy who we'll leave for another day. Pieces on. Lots of little bits of detail at the back. Tidying up of paintwork to do. A little bit gluey at the back there. And a little bit gluey there, just getting that cover on, that conical cover. But there it is, basically. I'm tempted to not do any camouflage, but I'll have to think that over. So let's get the tracks on. The tracks, I know I was going to do them in sections, but I wasn't going to do them in individual links. And what started to happen is, because the plastic's so old, and it is a soft plastic rather than a rubber, it started fracturing as I was handling it. And then what's happened is it's carried on fracturing once I put it in place. So I'm trying to hold this last little bit of the track down there, because if that goes, it really is going to be a bit of a mess. So unfortunately, that's the worst bit. Age. Everything else has gone really nicely. This is a great little model of a really rather smart tank. Let's just bring the gun up a bit. That took an hour exactly until the track started fracturing, and I've even done a little bit of detail painting with things like the fire extinguisher. I'd make that again. I really enjoyed that. I could have a fleet of those. That'd be superb. Yeah, I like that. God, the weather's really cold. It's very cold and windy. Well, it's still here, but it's windy down the bottom of the valley near, whipping through the trees. I don't know what's going on today. What a miserable day to take some tanks out, which leads me to say just a couple of notes. I put the Matchbox one out for like 2 seconds, the rain hit it and the transfers started to blister off, which is a shame. And the Monogram larger tank is not finished. So thank you for watching. I think I'll just leave you with this and the wind blowing.